our layout is broken. And what I'd really like to have is for this gray box to ride over this green column and continue on all the way until this, this normal blue column. That's 5 columns. But we can't do that with our normal grid area property. So with grid area, I said this first red, I want that in grid area A, and the orange in grid area B, all the way down to grid area L. And I have no way of saying grid area D to H. There's just no way to do that. But I do have a way of using grid area in a different format, using a different syntax. So let's do that now. Grid area, it's not going to be grid area A, that's going to break for a second. Instead, this is a shorthand for row start, row end, column end, all separated by a slash. So row start, row end, column end, which doesn't actually change anything because I've said, yeah, just go for one column. That's kind of silly. But we put this in here and then we start changing our columns because usually I'm only working in one direction. Okay, so I want it to start on column 4, and things are going to break because I've said, column 4 to column 1, which is kind of going backwards. But in this case, we can either go column 9, right? We're saying go all the way until column 9, but don't go over it. Or we can actually use a little bit of a trickiness by going span 5. So start on 4 and go for 5 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's great. There is one small problem with doing this though. Because of our positioning of this grid area compared to our grid columns down here, auto prefixer gets a little bit confused. And even if I moved this entire block down in the code, it would still be confused. So what we need to do when we start doing these tricky bits is we need to add our own prefixes. And you might think that, okay, that's really easy. MS grid column span, and they match up exactly, except they don't. So this is where auto prefixer takes care of some of that for us. What auto prefixer will do is it will turn our gaps into extra columns for IE and older versions of Edge, because those two browsers don't support grid gap. So in IE, it would be grid, column 1, column 2, column 3 would be the orange, column 4, column 5 would be yellow, column 6, column 7 would be the first green, and so on, etc. So we need to change these numbers, which might seem a little bit confusing, but actually isn't. The way that it works, we want it to be on number 4. So this edge right here, number 4, and you'll notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 columns and 1, 2, 3 column gaps. So 4 minus 1 plus 4, however you want to do that math, 4 plus 3 is 7. And again, with the spans, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 gaps. So 5 plus 4 is 9. And now it is dialed in, and we can span a number of columns while also supporting older browsers.